hardships, there are always struggles, mental struggle as well. Now what should I do? How should I proceed ahead with my career? Now I have gone through that too, because it can keep you awake at night as well, that what should I be doing? How should I be, making a new work for myself? Right. And now that's when a Blockofcrypto started, or how did that project?
So I started to run an online meetups group. So what I very much realized about Web3 was that it's community. It's community first. Everything is community, and projects thrive off community. If you have a great community behind a project is going to be quite successful.
Yeah.
So I started to run a meetups group when we went into lockdown, an online meetups group when we went into lockdown. And we run that every single Thursday night. We've been running it now a couple of years, every single Thursday night. And it was for people just to come and talk about Web3, talk about blockchain, talk about crypto, sound ideas off. Like, all the meetups had stopped because of COVID. So it was a great opportunity to start something online. So we started that online, and it grew very quickly. It became quite popular quite quickly, to the extent that if we weren't available to run a Thursday night and had to cancel for some reason, we'd get messages off people saying, I've got nothing to do now tonight.
Right.
So it really became a community. We became global as well because of COVID. So we had members from all over the world. We've members from South America, we've members from Asia, we've members from all across Europe, we've members in the UK, we've members in Nigeria. We've people from all over the world that come to the meetups, which is really, really cool.
Yeah, and it was a great opportunity for everyone to learn from each other, and especially...
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Paula, tell us more about the Blockofcrypto then. So it started with running the meetups?
Well, it started with running the meetups group, and what we realised that people coming into the space had all the same questions that I had coming into the space. Yeah. How do you do this? How do you do that? Oh, we have a layer 2. How do you move to a layer 2? How do you get your tokens onto a layer 2? What buttons do you press? I can't understand these transactions in MetaMask. What am I doing? And the process for people starting to use Web3, unfortunately, we're still so early in Web3 that it's not the most user-friendly place in the world. And because it involves finance, because cryptocurrency is attached to it, transactions can be scary, because if you make a mistake and you lose your funds, they're gone. There's no help desk for you to call to get a little bit of support on. So we realised from the meetups group that there was so many new people coming into the space. There was nothing, and the same questions would come up when new people would come in. They'd have the same questions that another new person would have had a couple of months ago. Right. So we decided to create some learning content around it and to build some courses around it. And so I launched a Blockofcrypto.
Interesting, fascinating. It's amazing. Yeah. So that's where the inception of Blockofcrypto came in about. And if I would ask, so going forward, what's the main vision and this vision for Blockofcrypto?
Well, the main vision for Ablockofcrypto is onboarding, and just really helping people to learn how to use Web3, to learn the benefits of Web3. I mean, there's so many opportunities out there for people. At the moment in Western society, the opportunities for earning an income in Web3 aren't as great as they are for people in non-Western countries. And the reason being, the likes of the Hive blockchain at the moment, if you're not hugely established, you could earn $2 or $3 on a post a day, okay, if you're not hugely established. In Europe, in America, $2 or $3 a day isn't going to make that much of a difference to your back pocket. But in the likes of Indonesia and in the likes of other countries, $2 or $3 a day makes a huge difference. And there's people now in these countries that are able to make a living playing blockchain games, playing Web3 related games. And they can make a serious living, but getting involved from the start, setting up a wallet, where do you find these opportunities? How do you transfer? How do you get your money back to your bank account? How do you keep custody of your assets? All of these things are really, really scary to people, and there was no education out there from the blockchains about this. the blockchains were all heavily focused in training developers. It's developers. We need more developers.
Space right now. Yeah.
And why do we need developers? Well, we need developers because we don't have a user-friendly product.
Yeah.
As I said, it's quite difficult. But at the same time, these developers they're not progressing, in my mind, fast enough to get it user-friendly. And so there's still a huge gap in onboarding end users. So I spent a lot of time actually talking to blockchains themselves, to the blockchain foundations themselves, and trying to explain to them that you're spending millions training developers, but you've got no users.
True.
And you have no users because it's actually too difficult to use. So we need to train end users on this.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So I managed with that to be able to get a grant fund from the Solana Foundation. So Solana is one of the larger blockchains out there. And I managed to get a grant fund from the Solana Blockchain to fund onboarding training. So training just about Web3. What is it? How do I use it? What's an NFT? How do I use a bridge? How do I use a swap? How do I get my money on? How do I get my money off? What's a transaction? How do I look up a transaction on a block explorer? Just the really, really basics that the end user unfortunately needs to know at the moment. Now, hopefully in 5 years, the end user won't need to know any of that because it'll be so much easier.
Yeah.
But it's times like this, while it's still so difficult, that the opportunities are there for people to actually earn a really, really good living. You know the saying, the early bird catches the worm.
Absolutely. And that's where you have decided to create a block of crypto in a very simplified way and in an ABC format. And how can the